Cross
All
ready?
right, so
Here we
yes, he just arrived. Yes.
go. Can you hear us?
Yeah, man, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? What is it?
All
This is
right.
very. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What are those? Is this your house?
Yeah, this is our office.
What? What is it? What are these pictures in the office here? What do we got here? But over your right shoulder, what is that?
That was a birthday gift that my wife got me. It's a painting of Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
And, this one, she loved it, so we got it. It was just some sort of strange horror concept. I've got all kinds of crazy stuff all over the room in the whole vibe of this.
You're a horror fan. How long have you been a horror fan?
Since I was little, man. Since I was little, that Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I was born in '85, so that was on the rise. That was like taking over the earth, all of that stuff. So I grew up with all of that. I've always loved it.
Do you still think that that the original Halloween is the best horror movie of all time?
No.
What do you think the best horror movie of all time is?
For me, I think the best of all time is Hellraiser, because that was by Clive Barker. And I say that because it wasn't a film that was, based on or needed or predicated on pop-outs. The new Hollywood horror film is to have something jump out.
Yeah, jump
in your
scares.
face. It's like almost like the equivalent of a cheap pop. Like any movie could do that. Any sort of genre film can do that. But what Hellraiser did differently was it was a layered psychological undertow about the pursuit of greed and what happens to a person when they become experienced junkies, and then they just magnify that and turn the volume up on that. And it's so layered. If you really watch the film, there's a lot going on in the film. It's not just there's a box and somebody opens it and these things come out. It's metaphors, and I love it. I think it's a masterpiece.
That ain't the one with the guy that has all the pins in the face.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
I don't think I've seen that whole movie. What's another one that you like?
You guys might remember this one. It was a David Cronenberg film called Videodrome. Do you guys remember that one?
No.
I don't remember.
Videodrome, without completely ruining the plot. It was James Woods. He was the main actor in that. He was the primary. And lead role, he is working for a television station, and he starts messing around with one of the frequencies. They pick up a weird frequency on the station. Like their station gets interference from some other sort of station. So he wants to figure out what sort of radio channel it's on. And he winds up finding this television station that is not on TV, but the radio signal's out there. And there's people being tortured and people I guess having sex or something, just all of this scandalous, super violent stuff. And so he records it and he shows it to a few people and he goes, hey, this isn't real, is it? There's no way this can be real. Why would someone even be doing this? And so that's where the movie begins. And I don't want to tell anybody else about it, but Videodrome by David Cronenberg, incredible movie.
You know what I liked a lot, Cross, that we actually talked about too, and I know Konnan as a movie connoisseur, maybe he's seen it. Was out in the last few years, was Hereditary.
Yes.
Hereditary was excellent. Did you see that, Konnan?
No. Here's a problem. My wife loves horror movies. Okay. So I have to put up with all these horror movies that absolutely suck. They're not scary. Bro, I just haven't seen a scary movie in a long time. To me, the scariest movie I ever saw. Now, you got to remember, I was 12 when I saw this. And I slept with the lights on for a long time, was The Exorcist.
Exorcist.
That rocked my fucking world, bro. I was like, what in the God, what is this? Now you see it, it's kind of funny. It didn't age that well. Because, this is a fucking movie from 50 years ago, Sure. Just like I was telling my wife, oh, all these movies suck. So she's like, okay, play me a scary movie. And I remember when I was small, I liked The Omen. So I put The Omen on, but that didn't age well either, Then I put Amityville Horror, which I thought was very scary when I saw it, and that didn't age well either. She did like Halloween though, But yeah, they don't make like that. I think it was the 80s, like the Halloween, what was Freddy, Jason.
They had the formula for fear. Like Halloween, was a great movie, and then it set the template for shooting the scary scenes.
Yeah,
Which
having
is why it was so good.
Right.
Yeah, a big main monster.
But the only problem with that is that as a TV viewer, when you see the scary scenes, when you see the same spots repeated in other movies, they're not as scary because you know what the conclusion is of the spots.
Yeah.
Which is why it's very difficult to make like a lot of like horror has been like consistent because it's very difficult to come up with a lot of scary spots. It's like all the good scary spots have been done before. So then now when you do them again, it's like, okay, you're repeating, but I know where it's going. So there's not that fear because I know at the end of the spot that this is going to happen. So it's like, yeah, I mean.
You know what I thought was good, Kevin? It
was very good.
Yeah. That was very good. And
I actually think, I mean, I liked the new ones, but I thought Tim Curry in the original It was actually even scarier than the new one. There's something really eerie about the whole movie, like just everything about it.
Yeah. Well, Tim Curry's a lot like Rob Zombie. They have a lot of fucking, idiosyncratic kind of things. Like, I thought it was really cool. I'd never seen this. That movie that DDP was in with Rob Zombie, what was it called?
It was Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects,
yeah. Bro, let me tell you what I loved about this. It was the first time I saw a horror movie in the afternoon. I'm used to always seeing it at night. And I was like, wow, what a fucking cool concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And big fan, even though it didn't age well either, but always a big fan, and I'll always watch it, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So you're in you're traveling, you're in a lot, you're going around with the crew, right? What are the hot topics right now, like in the locker room in the airports and you guys are traveling, what shows? Everybody's got a phone, everybody's got the apps, everybody watches stuff and everything. What's like the hot topics right now amongst the boys and the girls? What shows are they watching? What is everybody hooked on? Give me some trends right now with what your typical 2023 WWE roster is like right now.
Honestly, we're all working so much that no one's even home long enough to even watch TV.
But that's what I'm saying. People watch it when you're on the road. Like, you got a lot of time in airports, on planes and stuff. What are people watching?
People have portable games, and there is like a subculture community in our locker room that's really into gaming. And so a lot of them talk about these different games that they can play, and it keeps their minds busy.
Give me an example. What are some of the games?
I couldn't even tell you.
Are you a gamer?
I wouldn't say I'm a gamer, but I do play games from time to time. But Woods New Day got me into Tekken and Kofi, and
I like Tekken.
Yeah, the Usos.
But that's an easy game. That's old school, bro. I love that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And bro, let me tell you what I've walked into in Mexico. I've walked into a couple Mortal Kombat tournaments, and it goes on all fucking night. I'm gonna go, bro, why aren't you guys out on the fucking in a club getting some ass, doing what you, bro? They're talking about it from the minute they get in the locker room. All right, Mortal Kombat tournament at night, this room, be there. You bring this, you bring that, and I've sat there and I'm trying to figure out what is the fascination, because maybe I might like it, And even Mortal Kombat's cool because when you beat the guy, you gotta really beat the motherfucker up. It is, what I'm saying? Like, you really gotta, you gotta go ham on that motherfucker. But bro, they're popping like it's the greatest thing in the world. So maybe it's a generational thing, but I like Tekken.
I think it is a generational thing, and the other thing too that people forget is we're all wiped up and we're happy at home. Like, we're happy.
Right.
So when we go to work, we're happy to be on the road. We're happy to be around each other. And we're happy to perform. But in the back of our minds, the longer we're not home, that gets hard, and you guys all know what that's like. And I think occupying yourself as if we didn't have. Honestly, God, if we didn't have games in the locker room, we'd be playing cards. We'd be playing something, and it's with each other. It's not like we're sitting here ignoring everyone and playing a game. Everyone kind of plays with each other. And aside from that, we all go out to eat, and from time to time we'll grab a drink or something like that. I'm not much of a big drinker, but we all go out, and I don't know, man. It's the last locker room we had before the draft was awesome, and the new locker room is awesome as well in SmackDown.
And what's great about that, Cross, is it builds camaraderie and rapport. You know what I'm saying? And that's really important in locker rooms. That you've been in toxic locker rooms.
Yeah, I've been in locker rooms that make you want to blow your brains out. It's just like, you
might have been in the same one. Nice.
Yeah, I can get along with anybody, but even when some people can't get along, it affects the whole vibe of the place. So it's just like, God, like, get over yourselves. We don't have that issue, thank God.
So what do you do? So like, what do you do to preoccupy your time when you're on the road? Do you read? Do you watch TV? Do you just sightsee? What do you do to,
Right now, I've been on a sightseeing kick. When we got locked down, I thought I was an introvert. I thought I was somebody who didn't really want to be around people because I worked nightclubs a lot. So when I went home, I wanted to reset and shut down. I didn't realize how dependent I was with social interaction, and it made me rethink like how much time I've wasted with my life not being able to go anywhere. So like now, whenever I go to a new town or a new city, I do a couple things. I look for historical locations. I find out what the local dish is. I want to find out what everybody loves to eat there that's unique to that place that nowhere else has. And sometimes, not proud of it, whatever. I'm a human being. I like to get a local cigar. I like to support local stuff wherever I go. If I'm in the mood for a cigar, I'll get a local one. The best local cigar I've probably ever had to this date has been out of St. Augustine. But in Florida.
Have you ever shared a cigar with Cody?
No, I haven't.
Cody does he still have the cigar company?
Him and Frankie Kazarian.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they actually have a cigar company. They sell
Okay,
cigars.
good. I don't have to feel bad anymore then. He's the top guy now. He's a cigar smoker.
Right.
I feel great about it now.
Yeah,
Right.
American Rebel Cigars is what it's
American
called.
Rebel Cigars, yeah.
If you want to, I can send you a California cigar, which I'm sure you will like. And I'm sure you will like. So give me a good foreign dish that you ate, or maybe an original one that you never heard of or you never eaten before, and you ended up really liking it a lot, and maybe you've even ordered it in. Are you in Vegas or in Orlando? You're in Orlando, right?
No, I see. I really like it.
Yeah.
I got to say, when I went to New Orleans, and for anyone who's never been to New Orleans, there's a place in New Orleans called the French Quarter. It doesn't even feel like America. Like people spend thousands of dollars to go to the other side of the planet, which I completely encourage to do for a cultural experience and whatnot. You want to go and learn about a new place, but they go to places on the other side of the earth to see places that we have here in the United States that they just don't know that we have. But the French Quarter in New Orleans, I had this thing called gumbo. It was like a
Oh, it's incredible,
man. And it sounds nasty, but like alligator. It was really, really, really.
Yeah. And they have like po' boys, like those little sandwiches that are really, really fucking dope. They got a lot of shit over there, crawfish. But bro, I went there twice. I don't know if you went during this time, but I went there during Mardi Gras.
Oh my God.
That's a whole level of wildness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's probably where they filmed all those Girls Gone Wild segments, because they're just fucking, they're just ripping off their top. People fucking halfway fucking in the streets. It's fucking wild, man. Everybody's drunk, Yeah, New Orleans is a good place.
I remember being a little kid watching those like commercials or those shows that were on TV. And literally before I started talking to you guys, there's a documentary out. You guys would love this. I think it was called Muscles and Mayhem, or it's Muscles and something. Anyways, it's a documentary on Netflix about American gladiators. And just
I saw that.
Man, when I was growing up, just all of that, like late 80s, early 90s America was just insane. It was so insane. Just going back and watching it, I was like,
bro, you know what was sad about
the country?
You know what's kind of sad about those American Gladiator guys? Because I saw the documentary on Netflix. Like, they're all broke.
That's sad, man.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I got 20 minutes in, so I guess I know how it's going to end. That's brutal.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
I watched 15, 20 minutes of a joke.
Oh, sorry for spoiling it. I thought you had seen the whole thing. Yeah, wait till you see the end. Yeah. But so what do they got? So you started off with something with Drew, right? Then after that, you went with Ray, which was canceled really quick. I have no idea why. I don't know if you would have any more information. And the third one is then you started something, or you're starting something with AJ. That's where you're at, right? You're starting something with AJ? All right. And is Scarlett going to be wrestling against Mia Yim?
It's possible.
Right.
Everything's kind of, we find out things somewhat last minute and we just roll with it. But yeah, it's AJ and I have been working. He's amazing to work with.
Very professional.
Yeah, he's the best.
Well, he's very good too.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's one of the better workers of our generation.
His
Like he's in the top 10. He's easily in the top 10, probably top 5, maybe top 3.
The thing that stands out to me with him, and I agree with everything that you just said, was he has a ring IQ of like nobody that I've like probably ever met. Like I've met people with super high ring IQs. For anyone who's not in the loop of really what I mean by that, it's just like how you would structure a match for the time and place and people involved. The way he sees wrestling is like he was ahead of his time, in my opinion, when he was coming up in TNA. And I still think in a lot of aspects, he's still ahead of his time, even present day. I think there's things that he's doing. There's nuances and things that people aren't even picking up that people will study in probably a decade from now going, he was the only one doing that. And I won't say what it is, but if you know when you watch his work. And it's...
Because you know what? So I'm sorry to cut you off, but you know what took him to the next level too? Which you were going to go there, and I don't remember what happened. New Japan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, because that's just a whole nother level.
But AJ, but what AJ did is he's from like a lot of the guys from our generation, like kind of like adapted to like the new style, but they didn't adopt it. Like a lot of the new style, like you see the guys like AJ and everything that still have all the old school principles, like that they don't do the forearm spot where you stand in the middle of the ring and forearm the guy back and forth. You let it like they don't do like the new school spots that everybody else does. They still stick to like old school style wrestling, and they're good at it. And they still got like new school moves because he's athletic. He's a great, tremendous athlete. Obviously, you're in the ring with a guy like I've some of my best matches I've ever had are with him. I did this thing when I was in TNA when we were doing the Sports Entertainment Extreme. Me and AJ had a street fight. Okay. I'd put that street fight up against any other street fight of like modern day. Like, you just watch that match and you tell me if that looks like a good street fight. Because he knows, because he sells, he looks like he can fight. He throws punches and he's very acrobatic and athletic for his age. But he doesn't have to do all the other stuff that everybody else does because everybody else does it. So he would look like a copycat. He doesn't look like a copycat these days, which is what these guys, like, it's good to work with a guy like that because I could see, like, you probably, like, everybody's kind of like has the same spots. Like when you go to matches with guys, like, hey, we'll do the forearm spot, we'll do the, I don't know. It seems like everybody's got the same moveset these days,
I know what you mean. I mean, on top of that too, he'll bring it. I don't know how hard he brought it with you back then, but he's someone I can get in the ring with where, like, I know he's going to punch me in the face and I'm good with it. He knows I'm good with it. And he knows that I'm going to suplex him on his head. So people are going to get their money's worth when we work. And
right.
Don't be complaining about anything. It's going to be...
Right. Well, he understands how important physicality is in a match. I hate when shit looks weak or pulled back or, let me ask you a question. Having been in Lucha Underground and Impact and a little bit in the Indies, Mexico, what are 2 or 3 things that you didn't know about the business that you learned while you were in WWE?
Something no one ever talked to me about was about just understanding where your cameras are going to be and how to work towards the cameras so the people at home are going to get the best show. There's a lot of different camps of philosophy in wrestling where some guys go out there and they go, hey, I'm going to go out there and do my thing. Those cameras are going to find me. Hey, they might, but if you're looking to optimize every single second of what you're doing, you may want to take into consideration where your cameras are and learn how to work with them. It's really important. I mean, you can hook the audience. I mean, the way the audience live gets hooked versus the way the audience gets hooked at home are completely different things, which you guys know. But most people would never know that unless they've been to a live show or they've worked in the business, or they need to go to a few live shows to really feel that. So I would say that was one of the biggest ones. The other is, I've always tried to tell a story with what I'm doing to give people a reason to really care just beyond having a winner and a loser, but how imperative it is to have like a real reason why these guys are in the ring. I think I overlooked that prior to getting into WWE because it wasn't a necessity to have, because a lot of the matches we would have on the independents were cold matches. You go in there, it's the first day you've met the guy. If you're smart and you're a professional, you've watched his stuff, so you understand what he does, and you guys find your timing together with the time allotted out there live. But with being in the machine now and seeing how important storytelling is. I'll give you a prime example. That tag team match with the Bloodline was the Civil War. I mean, that was, in my opinion, that was one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not just putting it over because I'm in the company. I just mean I felt like I was watching a movie. And a lot of, some critics of that may go, oh, they didn't really do anything. That's not true. They've been doing everything for over a year. And I thought it was
more than that.
Yeah, more than that. Since 2020. Like, it was masterfully done. So that is the art of storytelling. It reminded me of the same vibe as Hogan and Rock when they were about to, butt heads. That was incredible. I was there live for that. It was in Toronto. And then
you should see some of the matches between me and Konnan in house shows where Konnan would take his shoe off and throw it at me.
Got a pop.
That's good TV.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, bro? Has anybody ever done that spot before? Konnan would shoot me into the turnbuckle, take his right shoe off, and throw it at me in the turnbuckle, and I would sell it. Oh my god!
That's awesome.
And bro, here's what happened. I got tired of doing it, and guys like Ron Killings, they were like, "If you don't do it again, I'm gonna do it." Oh, fuck, you're not going to steal my shit. So I just kept doing it because it would get a pop. You know what I'm saying? Silliest things get pops sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Ross, are you been into UFC and boxing?
I haven't been watching it because I've just been on the road so much, but I do catch the highlights. I try to keep up with what's going on.
Right. What about boxing?
Same.
Crawford is fighting, what's his name, finally? What's the fight, Konnan?
Is it Spencer?
Spence and Crawford, yeah.
Errol Spence.
Yeah, Errol Spence and Crawford, which is basically the Pacquiao Mayweather fight of like this era. And they're doing it, and they're doing it lots. They've been talking about this for like 2 years, and it hadn't come to fruition. And finally come to fruition. It's like way before Pacquiao and Mayweather finally fought. They're in their prime right now.
I would love to know what terms and conditions they came to, because that's obviously they held out for the money. It's not like they're afraid of each other. I'd love to know how much they paid. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you another one that's going to be really good is going to be Canelo Alvarez versus Charlo.
Yeah.
Guy's fucking talented as fuck. I mean, that's the thing I like about Canelo, bro. He ain't afraid. He's fighting bums because he's beat everybody, And so, like, they have the guy that beat him, the Russian guy, Bovkin, or what was his name? I forgot. Let me look it up real quick. But I don't know if you ever saw that fight when he fought the Russian guy that was bigger than him.
Yep.
Let me see what his name was. Well, anyways, when he won the last fight in Mexico, where he came out, he looked like a WWE character, and they had all the fireworks. And he said after the fight, he goes, "I want to fight this guy." Can you see what his name is? Joe, because I know I'll fucking turn this shit off somehow.
Bevan, isn't it? Bevan or something? Bevel,
something like that.
Yeah.
And so he went up in weight to fight him, and the guy was way bigger than him. And Canelo, usually, he's kind of like Mayweather. He likes to make sure he's bigger than the other guy when he goes in there, when he hydrates. And after the match, they were like, "Who do you want to fight?" And he was like, Bevel or Bovkin or whatever the fucking guy's name is. And he goes, "Really, at your weight?" He goes, "No, at his weight." And I was like, whoa, this guy's got a set of nuts on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good one that you should look out for when I think the date's already out. If you get a chance, after you check the guy's name,
Dimitri.
not sure why it's taken.
Dimitri Bivol. I just didn't want to interrupt you.
Bivol.
Let me ask Cross. Have you seen the bare knuckle fighting?
Yes.
What? That's like you did that. Is that like what you did? Like, the bare knuckle stuff. Was it in an octagon, or was it like what was it in?
It was really, really carny, bro. So I took my friends and I got on a bus. This is like when I was like 17. First time I tried it. Completely lied, told them I was 18. They never even checked my ID. I thought it was going to be a lot more organized and professional than it actually was. But we took a bus up to a native reserve. We left Toronto, and I think it was Whitefish Lake. It's been forever. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called.
Was it in Canada, the Indian reservation?
Yeah. And so, I thought at the time that it was going to be like boxing with like some MMA rules where we could go to the ground for 10 seconds. They explained it all to me very quickly, and I was young, enthusiastic. And when they said that sometimes they don't wear gloves, that went right over my So like I accidentally did bare knuckle boxing. I didn't really do it on purpose. Had they told me initially that it was even bare knuckle, I would have never did it. But I got there and I didn't want to look like a bitch to my friends. So I went through with it and I kind of got a knack for it and I stuck with it. But it was like a ring inside of a bar. And the ceiling was so low that when you stood in the ring, if you jumped high enough, your head would go through the ceiling. Like the ring was disgusting. Like it had stains all over it. It smelled. It was so gross. I'm pretty sure it was a racket. Like I'm pretty sure it was a racket. It was really, really, really bad. Like BKFC, that's like the pro level. Like I wasn't competing against guys at that level whatsoever at all. These guys were like produce drivers, like big fat guys that were probably driving in cigarettes and food and stuff like that and didn't want to drive back. So they would party and do this fight thing and probably all punch each other and then go home the next day. It's like the smokers. That's more like what I did. I wish I would have had something like that available.
How wild is the Indian reservation? Because it's kind of sad because you always think of the Canadian government as, you know, like they take care of their people and they're sympathetic. Bro, they spend no money on those Indian reservations. I went to one once where I don't know what part of Canada it was, but you had to wait till that part unfroze. Like you couldn't go in the winter. So you could cross and get over there. They had like these Indian gas stations and cigarettes. And bro, on the highway, this is how wild it was. On the highway, they had guys in fucking 3-wheelers. Could you imagine that in the United States? And bro, it looked like a fucking pimp painted all the houses. All the houses were like mint and purple, you know, like red and orange, like these wild, really, what's the word? Gaudy looking fucking place. And bro, and I went there to wrestle and it was disgusting. And all the girls that were like 12 and 13 years old, they were all pregnant.
Oh my God.
You know, it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. And the kids, bro, they were like little savages. They were fighting each other with sticks and throwing rocks at each other. Fuck, you know, like Legos and shit. Like they was really wild. I was very sad when I came out. I was like, wow, the Canadian government does not take care of these guys.
It's some of them are like that, man. And for the ones that are, it's like you said, it's really sad. I don't even know how to summarize it. It's rough. I had a weird experience there. I mean, the whole thing was a bit of a weird experience, but we would only ever go at night because by the time we got on the bus and got there, it was nighttime. And like, we kind of wanted to get in and out because we were afraid we were going to get robbed for the small amount of money we made for the fights. So we would usually try to get out of there pretty quickly. So but like for the short amount of time that I was there at night, it did look a little rough and no one looked like they were doing very well. It wasn't, one of the million reasons why I didn't stick with that particular thing. I was like, I gotta, like, once the adrenaline wore off and the reality began to set in, and then we weren't paid a few times, I was like, man, we should probably get out of here. A lot of shady stuff happened. So, yeah.
How about this scene? Were you ever, because I know you were in Impact and I know you went when we did Vegas in Sam's Town, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, were you ever in Sam's Town like really late at night when it looked like they just let loose everybody from the dawn of the dead, every riffraff, every fucking tweaker, every fucking...
It's very disrespectful.
It's true.
It's very disrespectful.
Bro, how wild is that, right?
It was creepy, and I had to have a sense of humor about it. But it was like I had main evented a bunch of times at Sam's Town on the Indies with wrestling. And when you're leaving there and you go to look around, it's like it's a good analogy for Dawn of the Dead. It was creepy.
Yeah.
It's like they took all of Skid Row, every scumbag, every fucking riffraff, you know, and they just dumped them in there. You know what I'm saying?
There was like senior people that were on the machines that just are frozen. They just don't even move.
Yeah, they're on their wheelchair with a big bucket, just walking around. They look like the grandfather from Texas Chainsaw. It's a wild scene, bro. Vegas at night in those little sea-level casinos is a very wild and almost kind of dangerous scene.
Yeah, it was very, very creepy.
Right. Have you found our friend Jesse Ventura? Because I know you're good friends with him.
I mean, can anyone find Jesse Ventura? What do you mean, bro?
I don't think anybody can. You're the only guy. The last time we spoke to you, he was locked up in a bathroom. And then we got a call, mysterious call here. I don't know how Joe got it from Jesse Ventura, and we just want to make sure that he's doing all right. Can you confirm his? I don't think you even know where he is, but can you confirm his health status? Is he in good shape?
I mean, I would imagine if we were to ask him, he'd probably say something like, "I'm alive and well." I would imagine he'd say something like.
Were you a big superstar Billy Graham fan, or no? That was too much before your time.
Before my time, but Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura were the voices of my childhood, man. The them together. Those were like my guys from those are like the oldest crew that I grew up with.
Right. Gorilla and Jesse and Vince was mint, and they had this show, which I don't know if you ever used to see it. It was on USA, with like one of the first shows they had where Bobby Heenan and Gorilla were together. I don't know if you remember that show where they would have the three twins that were like overweight.
Yeah,
primetime wrestling.
They could bicker back and forth. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some great YouTube compilations of those guys going at it with each other for sure. Yeah, Bobby and Gorilla.
Yeah.
Kevin? Who's the biggest star that you've met in WWE that you hadn't met before that you kind of marked out when you met him, or has there been nobody?
Well, it was when I was a kid, and it was Captain Lou Albano.
Really?
So, but yeah, a lot of people knew who my father's side of the family was in New York. They were working nightlife and all kinds of stuff, and sometimes they could get away with things that other people would not be able to get away with. And this one particular time, they brought me into a bar when I was like 7 years old. I shouldn't have been there. It was at night, but they brought me in to say hello. They knew the owner and whatnot. And Captain Lou Albano was in the bar, and he was, giving everybody a high five and everything. And I couldn't believe when I saw him. My eyes lit up. I was like, holy cow, it's Captain Lou. And I went over to him and I shook his pant leg. I was like, Captain Lou, look at me. I put my hand up, and dude, he got down on one knee. He talked to me for like 5 minutes. And it was like it was such a great experience, like as a little kid. That was like the very first wrestler I'd ever met that I had like a conversation with. It was Captain Lou when I was little. He was so cool. I took a picture with him. It was awesome. Thank
God you never met W.C. Fields. He didn't like kids. Did you ever see any W.C. Fields? Did you ever see W.C. Field movie ever?
No.
Watch him with kids. He'd say stuff like, get away, kid, you bother me. And he'd slap kids in the back of the head. He was awesome. Yeah, great comedian. All those old school, like Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, W.C. Fields, Fatty Arbuckle. It was just a different type of comedy. Even the Jerry Lewis, the Three Stooges. Yeah. Any of those guys that you were into that I just mentioned?
Three Stooges. I loved as a kid. Absolutely.
Right. Bro, you know what's funny about the Three Stooges? I've watched them throughout my whole life, right? And then I've watched them with females. Girls don't think the Three Stooges are funny. Guys think they're absolutely funny. It's like a guy thing.
It's like Seinfeld. Like you'll find some super fans that are female, but it seems to me Seinfeld's another show that like it's not, women don't get it. They don't think it's funny, but a lot of guys do.
That's true. Actually. That's a weird. I'd have never thought about that, but now I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Because I've watched it with different girlfriends and my wife, and I'm like, bro, these guys are funny. She'd never seen them. She's from Australia, and I was like, check these guys, and I was really pumped, and I really put them over, bro. She no-sold everything. She was, fuck is this? I was like, okay, you ain't the first girl. You ain't the first girl to say that.
I've also yet to find any females at all, and maybe someone will correct me if I'm wrong, that find Andy Kaufman funny. That seems like another one that it's like, guys get Andy Kaufman, but ladies really don't seem to understand it or think he's funny or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I showed Scarlett Man on the Moon. She enjoyed the movie, but I was laughing a lot harder than she was.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially the Tony Clifton stuff.
Oh yeah.
Tony Clifton's the best.
Bro,
what he was, you talk about somebody being ahead of his time. Andy Kaufman was way ahead of his time.
I ran into Jerry Lawler a few months ago, and he was at one of the tapings, and I just had to talk to him about Andy Kaufman for a little bit. And I told him, I said, like, I still watch that stuff like I've never seen it in my life.
Yeah,
right.
Adult now, even though I saw it when I was a kid, I'll just randomly watch it again. I'll just pull it out. One of those things on YouTube that was so funny and so entertaining that even though you've seen it a million times, you're going to pull the video up again just because you have a minute to kill. And he said what he's probably always said about Andy, which was that, he was incredible. He's an incredible human being. He was so smart, so funny, and he put him over big time.
You've seen I'm from Hollywood, right?
Which one is that?
I'm from the comedy one about the movie about Andy Kaufman doing
it's kind of like a documentary about his.
It's like a documentary.
Stuff. Yeah.
You ever see it? Yes. Well, Robin Williams, like they're interviewing Robin Williams in it. Like he's such a good actor. He's like in the documentary. He's like, how do you tell a friend to stop wrestling? It's like he's like, bro, it's hysterical. Like because like you have all these A-list celebrity people in the documentary. They're all acting like it's a shoot. So this is tremendous. It's like it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Because two of the things that I'm sure stand out to you, Kevin, and I think to all of us, is number one, the fact that they offered Andy Kaufman to WWE and they shot it down, and he went to Memphis and did an incredible job. That intergender title and all the shit he was doing over there, that was just fabulous. And then when he finally showed up on David Letterman, Jerry Lawler, that was great too.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Remember that? What were you saying, Joe?
Oh, no, I was going to say, since we're talking about old clips and stuff like that, I just wanted to ask Cross, like when you're in the mood to watch some wrestling, older wrestling or whatever, maybe let me see something cool I haven't seen in a while or inspiration or whatever. What do you look up? Who are your guys that like you'll watch their old stuff regularly?
Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake. I actually still watch Bret Hart. I grew up on Bret Hart. I loved it. Love Bret Hart. Every once in a while, I'll pull up Rick Rude stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought that Rick Rude was a genius as a heel. There was nothing to like about this guy. He cheated.
Right, he was great.
He was cocky.
Did you follow that
and
Twitter
legit
account?
Tough guy, dude.
Yeah. Did you ever follow that Twitter account that showed Rick Rude selling ass bumps?
Yeah,
selling atomic drops. Yeah.
That's
right, tremendous, right? Yeah.
The best.
He was great, bro. From the promo, oh, you sweaty sweat hug, fucking out of shape. From there he had fucking heat. Remember when he put Cheryl on his tights? Jake's wife?
Plus two. It's like when you grow up in the business, when you grow up and you're watching professional wrestling on TV, and then you get into the business, and then you find yourself in the locker room with these guys. It's like you walk up, like you go in, like you shake Rick Rude's hand. And like the guy used to be like an arm wrestler, right. So he's got these big, strong hands.
Like like a construction worker, bro.
Like big, strong forearms. Like a grown man. Like you shake these guys' hands, stuff like, and that's when I broke in, that was a locker room. Paul Orndorff, Vader. Just like the Steiner brothers, bro. Everybody had like big hands. Big forearms and muscles and stuff. Like it's kind of like it's different today.
Plus back then, because I was in WWE back in like 1990. Okay, so they had like the Road Warriors and Hogan and fucking what's this motherfucker's name? Kerry Von Erich. Was it Kerry or Kerry? Yeah, Kerry Von Erich. Yeah. They had a lot of big, back then how, Tugboat, like all these huge, and they were men, Now what you see is like a lot of kids and a lot of them kind of nerds. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different, composition, nowadays. But let me tell you a Roddy Piper story that you might like. So, we were in, where were we? Oh, it's when Ray had left the Indies. So we were on some show that Roddy Piper was on. And I already knew Roddy Piper because this guy, and I don't know if you ever heard of him, called Beetlejuice Love Machine. He was from Portland. Yeah, he was from Portland. And there's a really funny thing that if you've never seen it, look it up when we're done. You're going to love it. Did you ever see when Roddy Piper turned Art Barr into the juicer?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, yeah. So they were already friends from there. So Roddy Piper came to Mexico to film a movie. So he introduced him to me. So I already knew him. So Ray was like, hey, man, do you know Roddy? And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, my fucking leg is killing me. Do you think that he might have something, just to help me with the pain? And I was like, yeah. And so I go, hey, yo, Roddy, can you hook up my boy with something for pain? Because his leg's really fucked up. And he goes, oh, sure I can. He goes, he had like 5 pills. He goes, 2 for you, 3 for me. I thought that was funny.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but Piper was one of a kind, man. The best.
That's cool, man. I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you would have loved him. He was, bro, like all those guys from the 70s, they were just all characters. I remember I went to do this autograph signing with the NWO. And it was like Hall, Nash, Steiner, Luger, right? And then next to us was like the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, like guys of that era. You know what I'm saying? Bro, and they were all like in their gimmicks, the Iranian boot. Oh, George the Animal Steel was there. He had the purple tongue or the green tongue. Like they were, they were all like characters, and they stayed in character. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a bygone era. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I grew up with. I kind of miss it a little bit because we don't really have that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying I miss that stuff too. That's why I look it up every once in a while, and I just dig deep into it, man. So
what was to you your favorite era or promotion of wrestling?
WWF from 87 to probably like 96 or 97 was my favorite. I enjoyed all of it, but my favorite was that stretch because when I was a kid, this like wrestling, watching it on television was like my escape, and it was the craziest characters that you could ever see anywhere, and you could only see them on WWF. And, it was just like the coolest, most interesting show I could possibly find or watch on television. And I was a kid who liked to be outdoors, so I played a lot outside as a kid. And if I was going to be inside, there had to be something really good going on, because the second I could get out of the house, I would beg my parents to let me go outside and play. And wrestling would ground me. And it was like probably the time I needed to just relax and chill out and kind of take all of that in and just reset until I go back out and play again. So that was like
Now,
the best.
Did you watch anything like Mid-South, WCW, or ECW?
I didn't have access to any of that until probably 1998 or 1999, when my friends started to get into they started tape trading right when DVDs started to come out. And then once DVDs came out, they would, people were uploading the VHS to the computer and then burning it from the computer to the DVDs and selling the DVDs and CDs and stuff like that. And so that's when I got to see that stuff. The very first time I saw WCW, I went to a friend's house. I think it was when Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall collectively were on the show. I first began to watch it. I maybe saw a glimpse of it in the early 90s, and because I was so young, it had a different vibe and feel, and I think I saw a lot of old dudes in the show, so I changed the channel because I was little. I couldn't relate with that. I'm not saying that maliciously or to throw shade. It's just I was a little kid, so I was looking for stuff like Ultimate Warrior. It's a guy with a million different colors all over his body. I wasn't watching for work rate or anything like that. Nothing against it. But I was watching for the energy through the TV. That's what captured me as a kid. It was the energy going on, not necessarily how someone would apply, single leg Boston crab, or how they would close off their chokes with a gable for all that stuff, and I love that. But as a kid, I was I want the story, the colors, and the music, and the pageantry.
Right. I'm a big fan of the pageantry. So obviously when you work out, I'm assuming you listen to music, right?
Yes.
And obviously this is going to change from month to month. What is heavy rotation on your, iPhone or whatever that you use to, engage when you're at right now? There's
a band called Knocked Loose that I've been listening to, heavy metal. Another one I've been listening to for a long time.
Is it burp metal? Is it burp metal?
No, but I do listen to a lot of Cannibal Corpse, and I guess that would be categorized as burp metal for some people.
Okay, so Knock Loose.
Do you feel like going out and assassinating people afterwards?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Cool. That's music for murder. Yeah.
Knocked Loose. Okay, I put the search into the YouTube search engine, and the first search came back Coachella. So they performed at Coachella.
Oh, that's amazing! Good. They're growing right now. I've been into them before they were super cool and people figured them out. I've been with them for a long time.
Where are they from, Glenn?
I don't know. I'm just looking on YouTube. Let me tell you the names of some of their songs. Okay, Deep in the Willow. Everything is Quiet Now. Mistakes Like Fractures. Counting Worms, and The Gospel. Also, Dead Ringer is one of their songs. I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to go to YouTube rabbit hole at work, I'm going to play some of the songs, and I will give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on whether or not I approve of not.
If you had to guess, Cross, if you had to guess where they're from, where do you think they're from? Because I just looked.
I want to say the Midwest.
Very far off. Oldham County, Kentucky.
Kentucky?
And they formed in 2013.
That sounds about.
Sound like a bunch of hillbillies that formed a rock band.
How dare you put yourself on the list.
A burnt metal rock band. A burnt metal rock band.
No, they look like a rock band. They look like, like a Leonard Skinner would, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they didn't look like fucking country yahoos.
Yeah. By the way, I want to ask you a question. Does Jeremy still produce some of the vignettes on Raw and SmackDown? I heard it. I texted him. I had a text with him. He said he still works in NXT, but he still helps produce some of the main roster videos, the packages.
Some he does, yeah. And I love the whole crew we have, but he is my favorite.
Does he? Because I like Jeremy because he puts a good soundtrack into your promos, which is like I think it's interesting that like when you cut a promo, you get music in the background, which is cool. Like that's like I like the way they produce that character.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing that I've always tried to do, anytime I've ever been on a show, is I look at what's in the overall show presentation in terms of characters, wrestlers, etc., and I look at what there is an abundance of, and then what there could be more of, and then what's totally missing. And I try to find something in the common ground of what's completely missing, and what there's a little bit of that there could be more of. And I think that it's important to produce segments differently. There should be a little bit of variety in a wrestling show, which I think all wrestling shows have caught on to. That's been a thing for a while, but I always try to lean into doing things that other people are not doing just to make that segment of the show feel different for the viewer. Let's try to give them everything we can in 2 hours.
Right. That's the main thing. Because like when I did my character, which was kind of like it was kind of like a in NWO is like the Mexican gangster, right? From the street, which nobody had done. And then what I did is I did 2 videos, which nobody had done. They were like music videos. And so anything that you can do to separate yourself and not look like everybody else, it's like, if you go to a strip club and you got 6 chicks that are really hot. So like, like when you're watching a Mr. Olympia contest and like how can you tell the difference between 1st and 5th place? Like there's, it's so. And same thing, like when you go to a strip club and you see like 5 or 6 girls and they're really hot. And if you have like a plus size girl at the end, you're going to be looking at the plus size girl just because she breaks with the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So I've always been a lot like that too. Always try to do things that are different so you can stand out. And that's one. And I know that you listen to the show, so you probably heard this before. But that's one of the things me and Disco talk about a lot. And I'm sure you've noticed it. Before, everybody had like their own finisher. And if you wanted to use a finisher, you had to go ask for permission. Now everybody uses other people's finishers, sometimes as, high spots. And everybody finds out, okay, like remember when the Canadians Destroyer was in vogue?
Yeah.
And everybody was doing it because they got a pop. So now instead of seeing one Canadian Destroyer match, you were seeing 15. And you see that a lot. People figure out, okay, this is getting a pop. I'm going to copy it. And everything looks copy paste. A lot of the wrestlers, a lot of the moves, a lot of what they're doing.
I think so too. And I have it easy playing a heel because my job is to literally make sure that the audience stays behind my babyface. That is my job to make sure, you know what I mean? So I am not at the pressure that baby faces are under to be innovative and come up with original stuff now.
Right.
I mean, it's wonderful to be able to do all that stuff, but man, when other people are doing it, then what do you do?
Right. Well, you do what you do. You have a real good persona. You got a really, cool, hot looking, mysterious valet, and just do what you do, man. We're big fans of yours. We're always in your corner. We're always rooting for you, and we just want nothing but the best for you, my brother.
I appreciate that, man. Always. I always have.
Yeah. So can you tell people where they can find you if they want to chop it up with you?
Yeah. Social media across the boards is at Real Killer Cross. I wrestle as KARRION KROSS every Friday night on SmackDown, Fox, 8 p.m. We're live every Friday. Other than that, maybe a local mental asylum soon. Who knows?
You should do something from a mental asylum. That would be cool. Just beat up everybody in there, just fucking kick the door down and come out or something, straight jacket. Or like, remember in the movie The Rock where they had that one guy in the wheelchair and they brought him out and fucking all the other badasses were like putting him over and looking at him. You know what I'm saying?
The Con Air.
Yeah, Con Air, my bad.
Con Air with Steve Buscemi as he comes out. Yeah.
Right. How great was that scene?
That was awesome. I pitched
Like they had
crazier stuff than
Huh?
that. I pitched crazy stuff.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah.
What do they tell you? Calm down. We can't put that on TV, or wait a moment. We will do it later, or what?
Time in the show. A lot of the ideas I pitched that we haven't been able to do yet, we're putting aside for when the time is right. We need time to do them. You know what I mean? They don't want to rush them and like mutilate a really good idea because it only fits 60 seconds. So
Right,
I've got stuff
right.
like that. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe.
Good, man. I can't wait to see it. And one of my favorite guys, as you know, that I've ever worked with, and one of the smarter guys and most professional guys. So I always have much respect for you. And please send our best to Scarlett. And, thank you once again, Kevin, for gracing us here on Keeping It 100. Boom.
Yo, what up? This is Konnan, and I host Keeping It 100, my co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!